Hi everybody, I'm Elise. I'm an OT here at JLD Therapy. Today we're going to talk about what you should know if it doesn't feel like your child is playing. So play is a very important term when we're talking about kids. You know, it's something that we know that kids do all the time. It's also how they learn, how they explore their environment. It is so important. That being said, what do we do if it feels like your kid isn't playing? Well, there's lots and lots of different ways that kids play. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing I want to talk about is what stage of play that your child is in. So a lot of times when I hear a parent tell me my kid isn't playing, the very first thing that I ask them is, what does your child do? What do they do in their spare time? What do they seem to enjoy? And a lot of times what the parents are describing is actually sensory motor play. So if you see that your child is doing something where they're opening and closing doors, they're dumping things out, they're turning lights on and off, they're just knocking towers over instead of building them, all of those kinds of things, they're actually learning about their environment by getting a lot of sensory information. This stage of play is completely typical and appropriate. It's usually seen in kids between birth and around 2 years old. This is the first stage of play where they're really learning how does gravity work? What sounds do things make? How does it feel in my hands? And this is how not only do they learn about their environment, but they start to build those motor skills that they need. That coordination between what they're seeing and what they're feeling, how they're moving, how one hand works with the other hand to come together and play. It's a really important stage. So it actually is play, even though it might not be what we think of as play in our head, where, they might be imagining something or building something or seem to have some goal in mind. Those things are play, but they're later stages of play. They come along eventually. And so now we have some of our kiddos who maybe are older than 2 years old, but we're still seeing them play in that sensory motor stage. And it's not a bad thing. That's just where they are. That's where they're still exploring. So what we can do is we meet them on that level of play. We play in the same way that they're playing. We show them we can connect that way. We can make things fall down and make sounds too. And then we can add to that. We can add, okay, I'm dumping it and it's going to crash, but then I'm going to stack it back up. And now we're constructing as well as getting sensory play in there. These things are really important to identify, because play is also a way that you build a relationship with your kiddo. That's how they engage with you, especially in these young ages. So meeting them on their level is how we can really build that relationship. If we skip ahead and we try to play at a stage that they're not ready for yet, that's just going to be frustrating for you and for the kiddo. And that's what we want to try to avoid. It's really important that we hit these stages and we build upon them. If we skip ahead to a stage where we think the child should be engaging and they're really 2 stages behind, then it's going to be very confusing, and they won't have built up those skills that they need at each stage to be successful in that higher level of play. For example, if we have a kiddo who just really loves to stir a sensory bin. They dump things in, they stir it, they dump it, they feel it on their hands, they watch it fall, and then we try to take turns at Candyland instead in replacement of that. That game might not go successfully. It might feel like a chore to the child. It might feel like, more work than it is enjoyment play, because that reciprocal play, that taking turns back and forth with a more structured activity, is not the level of play that they're at. So the first thing as a parent is really identifying what stage that kiddo is in, even if it doesn't look like play to you. And then we can build off of that. We don't want to rush the kids or push them from one stage to another. When we meet them in that stage, we can then start to bring in small aspects, such as turn taking or putting things together or taking them apart or following short directions that can then help them move from that sensory stage into the next one in a natural way. If you have further questions about it, that's exactly what we're here for. Everybody on our team here at JLD are masters of play. We run a very play-based clinic. It's all very child-led. We use play as a very important tool. So if you have any questions about it after watching this video, go ask your OT or your SLP or your PT, and they can help you figure out what stage of play your kid is in and how you can help them achieve the next one. Thanks, guys.